So the dog that's barking is a dog that tends to visit frequently on Sundays, and it does bark. Yes, does bark a lot. So there it barked, and you can see she just stayed looking at me. Yes, good. So she's already feeling a lot better about this dog barking outside. So the dog stops barking, all the treats stop. Nothing good is happening when that dog doesn't bark. Yes. Good. Oh, that's good. The dog just barked again, but she was in mid-treat. Yes. There the dog barked. She didn't even get super alert and look. She just looked back at me. She went over by the door now. You can look at Faze till she comes back. So she went outside and she's barking at that dog now. Here's a good way to see if I call her to come, I'm not at all confident that she would actually come. So I'm just going to use my informal one that it's kind of less serious if she blows off. So I'm going to say her name first. Polly! So no response to her name. Polly! Polly! Yay! Come on! Yay! Good girl! Yay! Let's go! Let's go! Oh, good girl! Come on! Oh, so good! Yay! Let's get some special treats! That was so good! That was so good! It was! There you go! Good job! So good! Good! So you saw I didn't call her to come because I had... Come here! Good. I'm gonna just block the dog door here. But I had... I really didn't think she would come. Oh, shoot. I lost her. Come on, let's go! Yay! So good! I really didn't think that she would come if I called her to come. And I didn't want to water down the effectiveness of my word. So I said her name, no response. And so I just started making a bunch of high-pitched noise and talking to her in a happy voice, and it was enough to get her to come away. But if she wouldn't have, I wouldn't have done any damage to my come command because I didn't use it. She didn't hear it and then not respond to it. So that's a way that I just used come with distraction. Well, I actually didn't use come. I specifically didn't use come because I didn't think that she would come. But I had to play with a few other ways to get her to come, right? Like happy voice is silly. Here, let's go, throw the party. She's gotten used to that being associated with good things happening. So she came for that. Good. That's so good. And I just blocked the dog door now. So that was a couple different things. Number one, how are we handling it in the environment when a stressor happens? And then also that was another example of how to get her to come towards you when there is when you are not sure that she will come. She doesn't have that skill set yet. Okay, so this is another example here. She's really amped up right now. So I can help her too by putting her back on the leash to set a boundary. Good girl. Good. Good job. And I want to make the leash going on be associated with a positive thing. And then we'll go over here. And here, oops, sorry. Do a little bit of that relaxation. So now this is that picture she's been seeing before. And I want you to see something because again, we're still new into fading out the towel, right? Like she's only maybe a couple sessions into fading out, one or two into fading out the towel. So watch when I put her little towel out. Good. How fast she's able to calm herself back down. Now I'm going to stop using the Ziwi Peak at this point because I've got control over the environment. I want to use my higher value treats when I can't control what's going on because I've got to compete with that. When I can control the environment, I want to try to go with something a little bit less exciting. Good. So I don't know if you saw just how fast she's like, oh, I know this picture. This is my calming thing. She will not always need the towel. You're going to fade that out. You saw her where she, over there, just kind of threw it out on the floor, but that's a brand new skill for her. So you have to build that just like we did with the towel. You have to build her going, hey, I should try this other places and other times too, and not just with the towel. But with that dog barking outside, I'm going to go back to something that's good. There, that was the dog barking outside. So I've got control. I don't have control of the environment. That dog's gonna bark, but I do have control over her now. I have her on a leash. She can't go run over there. She has a lot of history now with just calming down and relaxing. So if you have something like that, good, where there's a situation where a trigger is kind of continuing to present itself, you can go back to this and teach her how to stay calm through it, and then she'll be able to translate that. Good. So there, the dog barked, and she didn't even lift her head. And wait for that dog to bark again. So now we're trying to move to a couple longer ones because you see she's still real fidgety and everything. She's got a lot of adrenaline coursing through her body from running outside and running at the dog and whatever. And so we want to help her come back down. So that comes from waiting until her body is more settled and helping her know that that's what she really needs to do, is stay in that same position for a longer time, and that's going to bring her body into a calmer state. Good. Again, I'm back to just using my dry dog food now. I want to use my ZB Peak when it's stuff in the environment. It was random. It's, stuff that really set her over the edge. And if I can control the environment, I've got her on a leash and she's happy to work for the kibble, I'm going to use the dog food. Good. Right there, the dog just barked outside several times. She had no reaction at first and then popped up. I have control over the environment though. So I'm going to see if she can work through this. Good. And settle herself back down. Can you turn this way? Thank you. Dog barking. When I say I have control of the environment, I mean I have control over her not being able to, go run off. And that's been happening enough now. If it was like maybe the first time the dog barked, first or second, I would throw a bunch of, I might give her a bunch of treats, good. But now, because it's been happening for a while, we've been working through it, and now she's got all of her settle props out. She's got the leash on, she's got her towel, good. Now what I'm rewarding is when that dog barks and she keeps her head down. So that's teaching her, good. When these things happen, you don't even need to look up and check out the threat. It's just not even anything to get that excited about. So there, the dog just barked about 5 times. She kept her head down. So I'm going to wait for her to work through this now because we've done this enough. If I have, I might try to just interrupt a little bit. I don't want her to keep rehearsing that cycle. So I might just try to interrupt and see if when I can snap her out of that, she goes, oh, I know what I need to do. Hey, what are you doing? If I had 2 hands, I'd do a touch right now. It's a little hard because I'm holding the phone. Polly. So you can see there she's getting a little keyed up. She's not responding to her name anymore. I want you to see, though, when that happens, how powerful the touch can be. Touch. Yes. Good. When you build in that touch to get them reconnected to you. It's such a quick and easy command. Touch. Yes. And it really gets them re-engaged with you when there's something triggering. Touch. Touch. Yes. You can see how happy it makes her. When they have a really quick and easy command like that, and a lot of good things have happened for doing it, it makes them happy. And that's what we're trying to do right now is first we want to make her happy instead of feeling stressed. And then we want to teach her how to calm down so she doesn't get stressed in the first place. So that's, yes. So that's a good way to redirect her, is using your hand touch. You want to practice that because you saw how even though her name wasn't doing anything, that hand touch, she's like, oh God, I love that thing. I get super happy when I get to do my hand touch because it's been good, connected with a lot of positive things. All right, so there was the dog barking again. And let's see if she can, she's not lifting her head all the way up, so that's good. Let's see if she can settle herself back down. Good. So again, first time after something triggering happens that she puts her head down, I'm going to go ahead and reward. And that was her responding to me digging in the treat bowl, but that doesn't get you anything. And the dog stopped barking, so now I'm going to wait for her. Okay, dog started barking again, but she's not as reactive. She's looking. Good. So what I rewarded there was she looked, started barking, but then looked away and looked up to me. So that's her breaking off using the thinking behavior to break off the intensity and that pull that trigger has on her. So I'm going to go ahead and reward her when she looks away from it, because that's one of the first steps to calming down too. Let's see if she can calm herself down. Here you go, baby. Good. Again, after something triggering happens, first time she puts her head down, I'm going to give her a treat. Good. There, she kept her head down. That's even better. The best is that she never feels like she has to do a threat assessment to begin with. Better is that she can go, I don't know, is that a threat? But then go, no, I think it's okay. Oops. Sorry, FaZe, that one was meant for you. Okay, so again, watch the hand touch. Touch. Yes, good. So good. Touch. 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 Yeah, touch. Yes, good, very good. Ready? You want to do your tail? Touch. Yes, good. Look, when I ask her to touch, her tail starts wagging. Oh, touch. Touch. Yes. And she gets all happy. So it's a good way to redirect her and get her focused back on you and doing something that feels good. Because what we want is when these things happen in your environment, there's no need to feel good. There's no need to feel stressed out. Good things are still there. Feel good. 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 Dog barked and she put her head down. I'm going to see if she can work through this. Good. First time after a trigger, she puts her head down. I'm going to reward that. She's starting to learn how to calm herself. Good. How to calm herself even when her body's starting to go, I don't know, you better amp up. This could be bad. And she's starting to be able to bring herself back down. So now the dog's not barking anymore. So I'll go back to just rewarding longer periods of keeping her head down and still. Okay, so dog barked. So you could go one of two ways with this. One is that every time that dog barks, you can just give her a bunch of treats right away. Good. And just work on that connection side of things, like you saw me doing before. But since I have control with the leash, I'm going to see if she can start bringing herself down. But, yes, good. I think I'm actually, because the dog's barking a lot and she's not having time to come back down. Yes, good. As much in between, I'm going to go back to when that dog barks, giving her a treat. Yes, good. Yes. Because I don't see her being as responsive or seeming as happy. Like, yes, she's just not getting as much time in between to bring herself back down. And in fact, I'm going to switch back over to the ZVP2 because I see her starting to escalate rather than come back down. And that's the opposite of what I want. So I'm going to switch back to just working on connections. Because you really want to see a good progression in a good direction of her getting calmer. And so I was hopeful that she would be able to start calming herself, which she had a little. But then when that dog started barking more, she just wasn't getting as much time in between those reps to bring herself back down. Yes. So I'm going to have my Ziwi peek. And as soon as that dog barks, I'm going to give her a Ziwi. Yes. And then if there's some space in between that dog barking, good. I'm going to reward her for putting her head down. Yes. Dog barks, you get a treat. A Ziwi. Yes. Because I don't like that she's having that huffing. Yes. And the growling, it means that she's still feeling stressed. Dog barks. Yes. It's barking pretty regularly right now, so I'm going to go back to just working on connections. Yes. Yes. And you can see through doing a little bit of that connection work. Yes. Now that dog barked and she's starting to look at me like, ooh, I think something good's about to happen. Good. She puts her head down. That's great. Yes. Dog barked. She looked at me. Good. Yes. Good. Yes. And you notice I'm always giving the treat in the opposite direction of the trigger. So the dog's not barking right now. Yes. Dog barked, treat. Good. If she stays looking at me, I'll give her a treat. Yes. I have my other hand. Touch. Yes. Good. Good way to redirect. Touch. Yes. Good. And see how happy she gets when I ask her to touch. Touch. Yes. And it's a command she's able to respond to even when she's kind of like, hey, what's going on out there? Because we've built a lot of really great reward history for it. She loves that one. Touch. Yes. Okay. So now the dog's not barking anymore. So I'm going to see if there's enough time in between that she can offer to calm herself. Yes. Nope. Dog started barking again. Yes. Good. She looked at me. Yes. And now I'm starting to wait because she's started to offer to look at me a few times. So I'm going to see if she can look. Yes. Look away from him up to me. Because now she's kind of going back and forth between her reacting. Yes. And her thinking. She's right on the edge right now. That's reacting. Yes, that's thinking. Good. So good. Yes. She stayed looking at me when he barked that time, so I'm going to pay for that because that's the best. Yes. Dog's not barking. Yes. She looked back at me. Well done. So dog stops barking. All the good stuff stops. Unless you start to settle down. Let me come over here. Okay, so as long as the dog's not barking and there's nothing happening, I'm going to only reward if I see her start to lay down and settle. Good. So I'm going to go back to my kibble for that. Good. All right, then do a couple longer ones. If the dog starts barking, I'm going to go back to my Ziwi peek. Nothing's going on. The dog's not barking, so I'm going to let her work through it. Dog barks. Yes. I'm going to give a treat for that. Yes. In the opposite direction of the dog. Yes. Good. You can see there she was able to lay down. She's starting to feel better. Yes. Dog stops barking. Nothing good happens. She's not going to get anything for staring at me when the dog's not barking. When the dog's not barking, I want you to settle. Yes. Good girl. There she settled and the dog barked. So that was good. Yes. There the dog barked and she kept her head down. Yes. So I'm going to go back to dog barks, give a treat because she's starting to escalate. And the dog's still barking. Yes. The reason we give that treat in the opposite direction, yes, is because you want to see what she does after she gets it. After you break that spell of the trigger, yes, calling her attention, what does she do? Does she immediately look back at it? Like, oh, still might be a threat there. Or is she able to look at you then and go, oh, hey. So by giving the treat in the opposite direction, yes, you're breaking that spell and then seeing what does she do after that. Good. So there she actually chose to put her head down. Good. So dog's not barking. So I'm going to go back to, in between times, I'm going to go back to doing a settle. Good. And I'm going to reward a few shorter ones just because that dog's barking at such short intervals. I was aiming for 10. She got 7. If you reward too much for like the really quick ones where she just puts her head down or 5 or 7 seconds, then you start getting a lot of that fidgeting and resettling, and that's not what you want. Yes. Dog barked. I'm going to give a treat. A Ziwi. Yes. You can see she's starting to feel better about it. She's not even lifting her head up anymore. Yes. She stayed looking at me when he barked. Good. So I'm going to pay for either thing. If she keeps her head down when he barks, I'll pay for that. And if she looks up at me, I'll pay for that.